Hello friends, welcome. Jenkins Dota here, bringing you another Dota 2 video on behalf of GameLeap, Dota Alchemy, and in this video we're going to be bringing you 7.21 guide to how to play Queen of Pain in 7.21. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Rule number one of laning with Queen of Pain is that sometimes you need to sacrifice a wave of guaranteed CS in order to guarantee a couple of waves later of CS by harassing your opponent with Shadow Strike. I legitimately think Queen of Pain is the best mid hero at trading, unless you're talking a special case where there's a counter or something like that, like Ember versus Ursa. So essentially, if you're not acting with unbridled aggression, it's not worth picking the hero. And as you can see, in this particular situation, I'm trying my best to, when this TA is not going to be able to hit me, where the creeps aren't going to hit me, like for instance, I'm not going to do it now, put the Shadow Strike on him, and when I'm not losing too much CS for it, I'm going to use my Shadow Strike on the TA. I even have a sentry placed, just so that he can't meld dodge the Shadow Strike, because it's that important. As you can see, he tries to meld dodge. So I had this inkling feeling in the game that this guy was a Smurf, just because in this bracket, Smurfs act very aggressively, and I think if I had allowed that aggression to scare me, he would have just started decimating me at level 3. But in this situation, he can't meld dodge the Shadow Strike. I assumed he was a good player and would try to do that sort of play. He did, thankfully, and I had the sentry. So what I do here is, after killing him, luckily he ends up putting himself out of position, I get to kill him, I send out 3 items. I send out a salve, and the salve is to heal me to full HP. I send out a bottle, which would also heal me to full HP, but essentially the reason I sent out a salve and a bottle is because I'm preempting more aggressive actions that I'm going to take, because, like I said, Queen of Pain, you need to act with unbridled aggression, so I know I'm going to use it in the future. And then I send out a sentry, because I thought that this guy was going to deward my sentry, just because not having that meld is really rough, because you can't dodge the Shadow Strike. And then I sent to the bottle, of course, because I want rune control, because I want to tempo control this game, which essentially just means that I'm going to be ganking the side lanes and looking to push the lane out, harass the TA, and then rotate. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the way that you can combo Queen of Pain's abilities. So in my opinion, there are 2 ways that you can go about using your abilities. This way that we're about to watch is way number 1, where you essentially zone somebody with your Shadow Strike, and you maybe Scream of Pain occasionally. You don't use your Blink, because your Blink is what allows you to set up for the final blow or to escape. So what you want to do is you set up with the Shadow Strike, you set up by hitting with the Scream of Pain, and then once the target, and you right-click them, and then once the target is finally out of range and you can't right-click them anymore, that's when you finally use the Sonic Wave, because it's got a huge range to it. Your right click is less than that range. Your Shadow Strike is less than that range. A lot of the time, you get a lot of right clicks on somebody when you Shadow Strike them, because they'll sit there kind of like, oh, do I fight them? Do I run away? So you get a lot of right clicks, and then you finally get the Sonic Wave, which is the pure damage, and then you have the Blink to get out. So that's way number 1. Way number 2, I don't exactly have a clip for you in this particular replay of this, but way number 2 you've probably seen in pro matches, where if you want to burst somebody before they can react to you, essentially what you can do is you Sonic Wave them from outside of vision, and then as the Sonic Wave is traveling, you blink and scream them. And essentially what happens there, because the Sonic Wave has travel time, is they're going to take the damage from Scream of Pain and Sonic Wave at the exact same time. And that is what allows you to burst heroes that otherwise wouldn't die to you. For example, Juggernaut could die to this. This Pangolier hero could die to this. These are magic immune heroes. They have mobility abilities, but because it all happens, boom, at the same time, that's a way that you can kill them. On Queen of Pain, it's a very good idea to typically move your camera around the map a lot, because, like I mentioned earlier, she is a tempo controlling hero, which means that typically you can make either defensive or aggressive rotations to other lanes, usually defensive, and you can win those lanes by just being that mobile hero that shows up when the enemy team doesn't want you to. In this game, however, I was lucky enough to have the enemy team show up to my lane, so instead of spending most of my time looking at the other lanes, I was just preparing to deal with the constant onslaught of ganks and communicating with my team that I wanted some assistance, because that way we can make some space for our cores in the other lanes. Also, because Queen of Pain and Puck play this sort of tempo controlling role, it makes it very good to get a bottle and push out the lane, so that way you can pick up runes which allow you to make aggressive rotations to the other lane, or if the enemy team comes to you, you'll be stronger and more capable of fighting them with those runes. I'm not doing a joke in this segment. So basically, in the mid-game, it's very simple to boil down how to play Queen of Pain to just a few sentences. Essentially, you want to split push with your Scream of Pain and your ability to just blink away from anybody who tries to come and gank you. You play aggressively in the enemy jungle, and you look for ganks, you look for kills. So what you want to do in this situation is essentially go to the lane, push the creep wave out so that it is just pushing towards the enemy base. Once that is done, if it's not safe for you to keep pushing, go get runes, whether it's bounty runes, regular runes, go jungle, and look for these pickoffs on the people that you yourself are causing to split up by split pushing. Alternatively, what can happen is the enemy team will look to fight your team because you're split pushing, and a lot of the time somebody will deal with your split pushing and then other people will go fight your team, and that's the perfect opportunity to TP in and use the fact that Queen of Pain is one of the most mobile heroes ever and show up to that fight and win it with your immense damage that comes from Scream of Pain and Sonic Wave. So that's basically how you play Queen of Pain. There's another kind of style, if you want to call it that, where essentially you just run with your team because you're so far ahead that you can just fight the opposing team. But like I said, I put air quotes around the style because that's not really a Queen of Pain centric thing. That's just any hero. You get so far ahead, you can just 5-man with your team and win the game. And how you get to that 5-manning point is typically by playing that sort of split pushing style. So last but not least, I want to talk about how to team fight ideally on Queen of Pain by taking a look at a team fight right as we're about to end the game, and we'll see a couple of mistakes that I made and a couple of good things that I was doing. So mistake number 1, I'm standing right on top of the jug. You want to consider positioning in a team fight before the fight actually starts, not when the fight starts. But when the fight does start, what I do is I start walking away from my team. So this is important on a lot of heroes, but more so it's important on Queen of Pain because she does a lot of damage. She has a bunch of spammable abilities. If you can stay alive during a fight and just sit there and keep chucking out your abilities, it's worth it. So I don't want to get stunned with my team when they get stunned. And as you can see, they're all getting hit by this Pango roll, and I'm not because I'm standing to the left here, and that's good. So I do eventually get hit by it. TA goes in. Spirit Breaker also charges through. It hits me, but I'm not the charge target, and because of the positioning to the left, I'm able to go in and finish off this Templar Assassin. But here's where I make a crucial mistake, and this is an important point. You want to be very careful when using your blink, because if you miss blink, you're fucked. And like I said, this hero is very important to not die in a fight, because you do a lot of damage, and you do a lot of damage over a long period of time. When it comes to your ultimate, you want to use it when you see a good opportunity. It's very important to be patient with it, and you should sit on strength treads as much as you can during the fight, because it's your spells that do damage, not your right clicks. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if the memes are getting too much, or if you want more, or just the same amount, if this is just hitting the nail right on the head. Let me know. Let me know what you think about this video in terms of, I guess, the format. People ask for hero-specific guides, and I thought like a replay review format would be pretty good for that. So let me know if you learned anything from this, and if you have any feedback on how to make it better too, I would appreciate that. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and see you in another video.